Welcome to the Freedom Office podcast. My name is Sofia Kakava, and today we're going to discuss about building a life and a business from a place of freedom. Today, I'm here with Win.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And we're going to have a chat about economics and deep dive into his thoughts and hot takes about the topic. Before we dive deeper into our conversation for today, would you share who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, certainly. I don't think I'm as powerful and as wealthy as your clients, but I think I do have a lot of thoughts. But basically, I'm 25 years old. I own a waste to energy company near Bangkok, basically refuse derived fuel, short for RDF. And I can talk a little bit more about that if you like. I also make content on the side. I talk about society, economics, and I touch a little bit on global politics, mainly just things that I have in my head and my thoughts. I just give out my takes.
Super. Thank you for being here. Well, I ask these 3 questions to all my guests. So to break the ice, do you feel totally free right now?
I don't think I am fully free, but then there's many reasons, but there's many like definitions to what freedom means as well. I think financially I am almost there, but in terms of geographically, I don't think so, not yet. Am I emotionally free? I think so. Yeah, I would say I'm almost free, not yet, not quite there yet.
Okay, wow, thank you. And if money and time was not an issue, what would you do?
Oh, I think honestly I'll be traveling, really. Traveling, talking to different people, helping people as well. But before you can help people, I think you should understand them first. So yeah, traveling.
And what's one misconception that people have about freedom?
I think when people think of freedom, they think it's freedom of consequence. But I think if you are free from consequence, right, then you're infringing in the other person's freedom as well. So it's not freedom. You should be able to speak and do whatever you want without affecting other people's freedom as well. And I think that's where freedom really comes from, because a lot of people, for example, they come to Thailand or Bangkok, they say that Bangkok, Thailand, Southeast Asia in general is super free because people don't really judge you. But at the point where you start affecting their freedom and you're disrupting social order, I think that's an issue. And I don't think that's the freedom people should strive for.
Right. Thank you. Let's dive into it. I want to hear a little bit more about your background. What makes you special? Where did you grow up? What did you do? Like, spill the tea.
I think I'm far too humble to say that I've made it or I'm like a very wealthy millionaire, whatever. Like, again, I'm like only 25. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. All of the things I say, I might still get wrong. So let me just preface by saying that first. But I was born in Chicago. I moved to Thailand when I was super, super young. I grew up in Bangkok. I went to a Singaporean-based curriculum school in Bangkok. And that really taught me the idea of discipline, the idea of hard Confucian, put your head down, do your work. But also at the same time, I was raised American as well because my dad grew up in the US, lived in Chicago, moved there when he was 3 years old. So a lot of American values was instilled in me, as well as Thai and Chinese Singaporean values. And the thing that my dad has taught me and instilled in me when I was super young is the idea of being able to live with people in every social economic class, being able to talk to them, whether they're in the 1% or the 99%, and treating them all with respect and honestly giving value to whoever you can to an extent, right? Without hurting yourself. So my dad has always told me that if you can give without it really impacting your life dramatically, why not? Because you never know who this person might be in the future. And you shouldn't even be expecting that as well. You just, just give. And I think the fact that I've lived in many backgrounds and met a lot of people during my life, I think that's a perspective that I hold truly and proudly. And that's something that I talk a lot on my Instagram.
Wow, thank you for sharing, wise man. These are great values. Growing up with that mixed influence between the West and the East, how did this impact your mindset and your perception of creating wealth and assets?
Being American and having American values, I was taught to the idea of hustle, the idea to adapt, the idea that you can create wealth wherever you can, wherever you want. Situational circumstances doesn't really matter, and you will find a way. And I think that's part of the, I guess, American dream. Though I talk a lot about that, and it's fading and stuff, but that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I think the entrepreneurial spirit is in me. But at the same time, growing up in Thailand, being raised Thai, the idea of acceptance and being relaxed and also knowing when is enough, the idea of self-sufficient economy, that really conflicted me when I was a little bit younger, because on the one hand, my mom would tell me, you can just do enough and you should be good enough, right? And you shouldn't, want to strive for things that you can't really control. Whereas my dad was more of like, you should be a cockroach. You should be able to adapt in every situation, and you should try to strive for things, even if the resources aren't there. And as I grew up, I kind of found a balance between the two. And I think in terms of creating wealth, you should be able to struggle and should be able to adapt. But at the same time, as you become wealthier, your expectations also increase. And I've kind of found a middle balance in the way where I want to increase wealth, but if I live the same way and have the same expectation as I were with this X amount of wealth before, I think that's where freedom for me and freedom of baggage and want and desire, I think I figured that out. So it's a combination of capitalistic plus Buddhism mindset a little bit. So I think it's a little bit different from your perspective and a lot of your clients' perspective.
That's an assumption, actually, because I am loving what you're saying about having that expansion capitalistic mindset, but also instill principles of balance and grounding like that Buddhism teaches. So really, really powerful. You said something about cockroaches. Do you believe that people should become cockroaches in order to survive and thrive in the modern world?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously in 2026 right now, what's going on with the whole war situation, I think being a cockroach is a very good example, because a cockroach can survive a nuclear war, and that might happen anytime soon. You never know, right?
Right.
But more importantly, I think being a cockroach in life is something everyone needs to be, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, for example, in my company, right? This oil situation happened, right? I was not prepared for it. My machine to sort, plastic, and we can talk a little bit more about that, depends heavily on oil. And because of that increase, is squeezing my margin. In some months, I'm not even breaking even. And if you have a cockroach mentality, you are going to find every single way to overcome that. Maybe get an electrical machine, or maybe go to different oil stations, wake up at 3 a.m. That's something that I did, and my workers have been doing as well. So it's been really difficult. But, or maybe risk selling some of your shares. Something like, when push comes to shove, when you're against the wall, having a cockroach mentality is the key, honestly.
Yeah, I hear that. And you're creating content online. You're sharing your views on different economic topics. Should people be afraid with the current economy?
I think afraid is a very strong word, and I don't like to use this word afraid. I think be prepared is a better word. I think they should be prepared for sure. Have a backup plan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 backup plan, because it is very unexpected. Be aware of the current situation. Don't be afraid. Be prepared.
I love that. Be prepared and be aware instead of being afraid. But factually, people are terrified right now.
Of course. I am myself. I'm sure you are. And I made a video about that, but you should try to be positive, to an extent.
Oh, yeah. I'm up for that. I have a coaching business, and I'm telling my clients every single day, the world needs us more than ever, right? Leadership, true leadership. And difficult situations and economy creates a lot of millionaires, right? So either you grab the opportunity or you just retreat in your corner and you never do it.
Yeah, I think you should be able to do what you can, prepare what you can. But if push comes to shove, if it happens, if a nuclear strike happens, and you as an entrepreneur, you cannot do anything. As a human, you can't do anything. You can die the next day, right? And I think that's where the Buddhism aspect in my life comes in, where if we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die. Buddha said this best, and he said that one thing that is certain in this world is death, and that's something that
Inevitable.
Everything is gonna happen regardless. And if you have that mentality already, but also the mentality of like, I will do everything I can within my power, I think that's where you truly find happiness. Accepting that if my business dies, if whatever happens, if I go bankrupt the next day, you're still 40, 50, 60, you're still young, honestly.
Right.
You can still rebuild. And as hard as that sounds, and I try to be realistic, but it's the truth, really. It's yeah, if it happens, it happens.
If it happens, it happens.
Nobody has an answer to that, really. A good answer.
Definitely. And you mentioned that you run a waste to energy business.
Yeah.
How do you think that sustainability and opportunity go hand in hand?
In this day and age, the idea of being sustainable, global warming, climate, all this thing is true, right? For one. And number two, I think corporate social responsibility, CSR, is a very big market as well. And we have seen that if you're a company and you're not sustainable, that is going to hurt your revenue and your demand, right? So, of course, you should try to make a profit, obviously, right? But then not only that, more importantly, is that if you focus a little bit more on the CSR, the corporate social responsibility, sustainability, that profit in the long run would return back.
Yeah, I love that. And you mentioned self-sufficient economy. Can you tell me with like 2 sentences, what does this mean?
I've had a lot of thoughts about this, and I'm very conflicted with that idea. I think good and it's bad, but in Thailand, it was promoted by the late king, right? The idea of self-sufficient economy, and it's been promulgated with people from the rural areas in Thailand, and it's the idea that if you don't have enough, you don't need enough. I mean, if you have this, that's good enough. You don't need to strive for more. And that was honestly a way to promote social order, because when there's a lot of poor people and that desire, that want and need is there in their mind, that creates instability, that creates unhappiness, and eventually that could create crime, right? But I think, to answer your question, a country like Thailand probably needs less of that self-sufficient economy mindset and more of that capitalistic, a little bit more of that mindset. Whereas a country like, for example, the US, where it's super rampage with crime, people who don't have, they become very angry and steal and commit crime and fight. I think they should have a little bit more of that self-sufficient acceptance mindset.
Thank you. And do you think that the Southeast Asian business leaders are more skilled in business than the West?
I don't know. I really do not know, because the only Southeast Asian country right now that is on a global international stage that's making deals with the West and stuff like that is Singapore, right? In the Southeast Asia. Yeah, you can say here and there might be Thailand, there might be, Malaysia. Okay, maybe Malaysia, Vietnam is coming up. But
yeah, Southeast Asia is rising.
Yeah, for sure. But we have never really seen a country in Southeast Asia dominate globally in terms of market. Like, obviously, we've seen Europe, Germany, Mercedes-Benz, all these things, the US, McDonald's, like a bunch of companies in the US, the UK, Tesco, Lotus, all these things, right? But when you hear Southeast Asia, think of one product that came from Southeast Asia that's really dominated the world. Like, okay, South Korea, we know Samsung. Japan, we know there's Sony. Back in the old days, China, BYD, it's all coming up. But Southeast Asia, I don't know. I don't see it yet.
Great. Yeah, I hear that. And of course, I've wrote about building a remote lifestyle in my book, The Freedom Office. And I do believe in that global mindset. And I see Southeast Asia becoming a hub for entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
digital nomads, don't you think that this plays a huge part in economy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just saying that we have not seen historically, because it's a growing market. There's a lot of opportunity
It's
for
a
sure.
lifestyle market.
It is a lifestyle market, and there's a lot of opportunity. It's so many markets that has not been penetrated yet. So I think if you are an entrepreneur, yeah, definitely thinking of investing in Southeast Asia. And it's really, really like if you look at the economy and business cycle, it's pretty much the same thing. Like before, everyone was going to the West, right? Invest, building startups. The US, the New York Big Apple was the place. And then eventually Japan started rising, Korea started rising. And then now it's China, then eventually, if you're a SME, yeah, maybe go to Southeast Asia. 50 years later, if there's no nuclear war or anything, probably Africa or something like that, Like it's honestly a cycle. And right now, a growing market is a country like, Vietnam and maybe Cambodia, Laos, but that's further
down.
along the line.
One more question for you, because you're also a content creator, you have your business. What's the smartest way to create wealth and make money nowadays?
That's a good question, because I still I'm struggling with that, and I am getting brand deal sponsorships and stuff like that from content creation, but not at the expectation that I like. My main source of income now is the waste to energy business, family business, by the way. I didn't start myself, but I think being able to do content every day where it is systematic and it's set up. Like I used to be the one where I would try to take these shots, get this angle, edit. Like I was a videographer too, an editor as well for a big YouTuber. And I would always have this cinematic mind. And sometimes it's fun, it's enjoyable. But for me, I find it sometimes tedious, and the return on investment of doing that might not really translate. So now I just open my Osmo and just talk. Basically, that could be difficult for some of you, but you need to find something that you can do every single day, repeat over and over and over. I always tell people this, that if you have not made the same video 100 times, at least, that sample size is too small to determine whether that concept is good or bad, right? I've made, I don't know how many videos already, and I'm still only at like 5,000 followers, right? Probably like a couple hundred, almost like, 1,000 something videos already. And I'm still learning. So yeah, I don't think it's any crazy, amazing advice. I think a lot of people have been saying it, but I truly believe in that.
Yeah, thank you. Consistency is indeed key, and people just want to experiment with ideas rather than have the idea and like deliver it in different ways. So where can people find you and watch your content?
Yeah, find me at Winonomics on Instagram. Right now, I'm talking a lot about Thailand and Bangkok. I'm starting to talk a little bit more about Southeast Asia, how systems run. I talk a lot about incentives. I talk about systems, culture, identity. I will soon make more content about my waste to energy business as well. So stay tuned for that. I think that's something that I should definitely strive to do, make people know a little bit more about this industry, because not a lot of people know.
100%. I'm ready to watch more about that.
Yeah.
And any closing nuggets for our listeners and viewers of the Freedom Office?
Yeah, closing nuggets. Get rich, be wealthy, but true wealth comes from content. And if you can make money but live the same way that you've lived before, then you'll be wealthier than ever.
Oh, wow.
That's a very Asian mindset, I think. The idea of saving and costs, But it's true. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Win.
Thank you for having me.
Well, everyone, like, subscribe, comment your questions, which topics you would like me to cover in the Freedom Office podcast, who you would like me to speak to. I'm open to conversations, and from where should I do my next podcast. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode.
Sawasdee krap.